Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. And my lighting, which is slowly improving, slowly. I'm wearing Fernet Branca, I don't know how to say that. It's by Thea Coleman. I almost never wear sweaters with cables because I almost never knit sweaters with cables. But this one's got a cable right there and there. It's the same on the back, but the back also has a seam. Here, I'll turn around so you can see. You can see there's a seam running down the back. This sweater was knit flat in pieces, another thing I really hate doing. But I made this at the beginning of quarantine, like right at the beginning of COVID, in like March and April of 2020. I made it out of Harrisville Designs Watershed, which is this beautiful woolen spun yarn. It's kind of like Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, but it's a little less expensive. And again, it's like really heathered. You probably can't see, but there's like a lot of red and green in this blue heathering. This color is called Aquifer. It's very nice. I will link in the show notes where you can get the yarn from Harrisville itself, the mill. Okay, so today is going to be the third installment of Hilda sweater, Hilda Journey. So at this moment, the body is done. And I promised I would do another video when the body was done so you could see. So I think the last time I videoed this, part of this body was done. Maybe I was almost ready to separate for sleeves. So I've done this much more. Oh, it smells really good. I've kind of been on hiatus with this. I've been in and out with it. I tend to, with Fair Isle sweaters, I tend to work on them in bursts. Like I'll go like 3 days really hard and finish a section, and then I'll just forget about it for like 6 weeks, and then I'll pick it up again. So if you want details on this, colors, etc., where I got the pattern, it's in the Vintage Shetland project by Susan Crawford, but I made edits. I can't stop smelling it. It smells really good. You can watch my first 2 videos in this series. I will put them all in a playlist. I'm just holding it like this so you can see it. I washed it. I just blocked it a couple days ago and now it's dry. And what I recently discovered, I've always used Eucalyptus wool wash. I love Eucalyptus. But I recently discovered the jasmine scent, and I don't like jasmine tea, so I never bought it before. But they have like lavender and grapefruit and jasmine, and then they have a eucalyptus, I think, and then they have unscented. And I've never bought the eucalyptus, but I have the lavender and the grapefruit. And I guess I was somewhere and I needed like a little bottle of eucalyptus, and the only small one they had was jasmine. So I bought it, and oh my God, it smells so good. It makes your sweaters smell amazing. So I really recommend trying that. Yeah, so why did I block it? Because I am very committed, somewhat newly, to blocking everything before I pick up stitches for especially along any steek. It's my cherry bubbly. It's almost done. It was really good. I love bubbly. Yeah, so I washed this so that my stitches could basically settle into place before I picked up stitches along the armholes or arm size. I learned from a viewer that it's not pronounced armsky, even though it's spelled A-R-M-S-C-Y-E. It's pronounced armsky. I'm probably still pronouncing that wrong because I'm not English. But there's one and there's the other. You can tell they're a little bit shaped. I didn't do too much shaping around the armhole because in the end, this is a drop shoulder, so I didn't want it to be too much because I'm not going to be doing any cap shaping for the sleeves because they're going to be knit straight down from here. This is the back of the neck on the back, you can see there. And then this lovely hole here, that's the neck. So that's where I separated stitches off for the bottom of the crew neck. And then I knit a few inches here. So the last time I knit a crew neck that was a pullover, it was lapwing. And I thought the problem was that I had put too many stitches on hold for the neck, but that wasn't true. The problem, because it was kind of a boat neck, the problem was that I didn't knit enough after I did that. I knit like, I don't know, like a tiny little bit. Here I did like a substantial amount so that the neck really sits down here, and then there's a little bit of shaping, but it's mostly just straight up from there. I shaped a few rounds around the neck. Did like 3 maybe decreases, maybe 4 on either side. Not too much because I didn't want it to be like really gradual like this, because that would also create a boat neck effect. So I wanted it to be like this. I really wanted it to be basically rounded and then go like this. So again, I don't actually know how it's going to turn out because I didn't do that. I have never done this before. And I did a little bit of improvising on that. So it's going to be fun. I am really pleased with how the natural shades all look together with the red. Nice pop of red. I really like it. So another one of the reasons I blocked this before I did anything else is because I'm not going to secure the steeks on this. And I was going to secure the steeks because why not? The needle felting thing takes very little time. And because you get to stab something repeatedly, it is quite satisfying. But I couldn't find my needle felting tool because I moved recently, and sometimes things just kind of get lost in the shuffle when you move. And I do remember having lost the tip to the cap to the felting tool, which makes it dangerous because it's 3 barbed needles. So I probably just need to get a new one. They're not expensive. I tried to get one this past weekend, but they were all sold out at the Magpie Market in Frederick, where I went to check. So eventually I'll have one for like other things, but you don't actually have to secure Shetland wool. So I was like, I'm not going to do it because you don't have to. I am, however, and this is why I blocked it, I'm going to pick up stitches around the steek bridges before and knit a couple rounds before I cut the steek bridges open, because I really don't want any extra stress to be going on those unsecured steek bridges. So yeah, I plan to do the neck first. So I'm going to basically pick up these live stitches and the ones on the back, and then along this neck steek you pick up all these stitches as well. And then the nice thing about that is that then you can kind of see how big the neck is going to be, and you can like do a little decreasing or like knit on tighter needles or something to make the neck kind of pull in the way that you want it to pull in, which is A+. For the arm size or armholes, I'm also going to grab a tape measure out of here so I can tell you exactly how long these are, or all the measurements on this guy are. This is from Neighborhood Fiber Co. I think her name is, starts with a V. It's like Veronica or Victoria or Violetta. She's got a name. She came from Neighborhood Fiber Co., which is a Black-owned business in Baltimore. That is a great place to patronize. You can order from them online. They are a big dye studio, and they have great like notions and stuff. I think that's where I got the Jasmine wool wash, actually. Yeah, because I was there a few weeks ago when I needed it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this on the desk and do a little bit of measuring. So there goes the boiler. The neck steek is 2.5 inches tall. So that means that there's 2.5 inches between the bottom of the crew neck and the top of the crew neck on the neck. The total arm side length is just under 8 inches. It's about 7 3/4 inches, which is about what I want for the here to here area. And the whole thing, let's see, I'm gonna just measure from the arm side down to the bottom band. 16.5 inches from there to there. So total 24, about 24 inches total. 16.5 plus 7.5. It's 24, yeah, that would make sense, because if you took the half off, yeah, 16 plus 8 is 24. So yeah, I'm great at math, can you tell? Okay. So yeah, and then after I do the neck, I want to do the neck first because I want to get the neck finished so that I can actually put it over my head once I cut open the arm size steeks as well. So to do the arm size, basically you do the same kind of thing, but you need to be prepared to do both of them, at least start them both at the same time. So basically you're gonna I'm gonna take a 40-inch needle first and do it pick them up magic loop style, and then I'm gonna end up knitting the sleeves on a 16-inch needle until they get too small for the 16-inch needle, and then I'll switch to magic loop on the 40-inch. But for the first probably half to 2/3 of the sleeve. It's gonna be on a 16-inch needle, depending on how fast I feel like decreasing them. So you gotta pick up and knit all the stitches around the arm side. It's not like a button band or a neck band where you wanna be picking up like every 5 out of 7 or whatever. I don't even know if that's useful on a neck band. I might do that along the neck band just to make it a little tighter. Yeah, but on an arm side, you want to pick up every stitch. If you miss one, it's okay, but you want them to be even on both sides, and of the, like the front and the back, you want that to be even, and then you want them to be even on both sleeves. And so if you do that at the beginning, it kind of guarantees that you're not going to forget like how many is here and how many is here and how many you got to decrease, whatever. So I'm going to pick up one, knit a few rounds, and then put it on like a knitting, I have these knitting Barber cords, I might put it on a knitting Barber cord. Then, which is just, it's like waste yarn, but it's rubber, and it smells like arugula, as I've said before. It's kind of weird. You can get knitting Barber cords to hold your body and sleeves. I got this at somewhere in Frederick at like Knitting, not House, what's it called? There's a knitting store in Frederick that's not Maryland, that's not the Magpie Market. It's like Not House Yarns or something, Row House, I don't know what it's called. I can't remember, but that's where I got this. Oh, it might say, no, it doesn't say on that. It's just looking at the tag. The Woolly Thistle has these cords too. You can order them from there. I need like 5 sets because I have like 10,000 sweater whips all the time, but I just have the one set and it's great. So there's that. And then, yeah, so then you kind of just have that one on hold and do the same thing on the other side. So after you've knit like 3 rounds on that sleeve, you can cut the steek open, and then I would right away tack that down, especially because I'm not going to be securing the steek. I'm just going to sew it down, stitch that down to the inside of the sweater, get it out of the way. I do not want to be running into that, getting anything to unravel when I'm trying it on or putting it on later or any of that funny business. I want that tacked down ASAP. So I'm going to do that on that sleeve, do the same thing on the other sleeve, and then continue knitting on that other sleeve until it's done, and then go back and finish the second sleeve. That's kind of how you do that. I'm looking at my like very sparse notes. What did I write? Refer to videos 1 and 2 and pattern page for details about this. Yeah, my Ravelry pattern page will also be linked down below if you want the colors. I used natural shades of Jamieson and Smith Shetland Supreme jumper weight. So the natural shades are undyed, and that's the Shetland Supreme line. The dyed shades are called 2-ply jumper weight. So I used 2002, is that like lightish beige color with the red, and then the super dark brown Shetland black, which is 2005, and then the whitish color, which I used to start, the shadows are not great here. That's 2006. Okay, so I got 2006, 2005, 2002. The red is like, I don't know what number the red is. It's maroon. Oh, it's probably, I have one here, sorry. Let's see. I think it's this one. 9113 maroon is the red. 9113 maroon is that red. And then the 2 browns on this, oh, it's hard to see. This guy here, the kind of big bands, the big natural colored bands. There's the background color is 2007. And then the foreground color is Shetland black. Oh, and then this like lighter brown is 2004. Again, check the Ravelry page. That's the best place to get information. But there she is. Okay, I finished the body. Explain next steek. I did that. I measured it. Blocking, always good to do before picking up stitches, especially if you're not securing the steek. Pick up stitches and knit 2+ rounds before cutting a steek. Don't weave in ends if you have a steek. Okay, so on a cardigan, you like never have to weave in your ends on the body, which is amazing. On this one, it was a jumper, so I did have to weave in the ends. On this one, I did trim my ends right away. I didn't bother like waiting till I blocked it to trim them because they're just gonna get annoying. But, oh, I've gotta weave that one in. Sometimes you like end up starting a new ball in the middle of a round and you have to weave that in. But then I would just start the new color on the arm size steek bridge. Not have to worry about weaving them in because you're just going to trim them. You're going to cut that steek open and all those pieces of yarn are going to be part of that cut steek. so who cares? Which is great. You just toss them right out. It's just like one of the most satisfying things ever is not having to weave in ends. Especially, well, you do have to weave them in. Again, I had to weave them in on the side, and I'm also gonna have to weave them in on the sleeves. And my tip for that is weave in as you go, like every inch or every 2 bands, weave in all those ends. When you're done, it takes like 3 minutes if you just do it. Then it's just such a, like, you turn that sleeve inside out to like weave in the ends if you've done the whole thing and you're just like, that is too much end weaving, and you just get overwhelmed because it'll take an hour or longer. But yeah, maybe, yep. The rest of it was just about picking up stitches. This has not been a long video, but I did want to talk about the importance of blocking, and I wanted to show you what this looks like. The neck steek is weird. Again, let me talk about this a little bit more. So when it says do a neck steek, or when you hear somebody did a neck steek to like make the bottom of the neck lower, basically it just means at some point you decided this is where the bottom of my neck is going to go. Right there, and I'm going to separate this many stitches, and it's between like 30 stitches, 25 to 35 stitches, maybe more if you're knitting for a bigger person or you want a bigger sweater for whatever reason. So yeah, that's this. Put them on hold, put those stitches on hold, cast, and then the next round cast on a steek bridge over top of those held stitches, so that you can keep working in the round. And then I did a few decreases here, but mostly I just knit flat up. So I'm gonna have bottom of my neck there, top of my neck is gonna be way up here, so that's gonna be open, and the neckband's gonna be picked up. Basically, you pick up these live stitches, pick up the stitches along the side of that steek bridge. There's more live stitches here for the back of the neck, pick up the stitches along this side of the steek bridge, and then you knit your collar. And you can kind of knit a couple rounds and then cut that steek open and then like see how that collar looks and decide if you want it a little tighter, go to some smaller needles, maybe do a decrease round. Not if you're in the middle of ribbing, but you know, you can do what you gotta do. The darker the color, the less people will notice if you just like start randomly decreasing. So that's a nice tip. But yeah, I think that's all. Nice short little video on Hilda. Now that this is done, the body is done, I'm definitely like excited about doing the sleeves and stuff. So kind of get on that. I just finished knitting a yoke, so I'm like ready to have a color work thing again. I mean, I have other color work things that I'm always doing. I always have like 4 color work projects on the go, but it's nice to know that like 2/3 of the sweater is done and I just have to knit sleeves, and the rounds are so much shorter. So like you can knit like a good chunk of sleeve in like 1/3 of the time it would take you to knit that many bands of the body. So that's nice to know. So maybe we'll do some of that today. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching and following the saga of Hilda, who is gonna be done. Maybe I'll finish her over Christmas. I want to do a few things over Christmas and I'm gonna have a lot of time off, so maybe she'll get done. Once I like really get going on a Fair Isle project, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll finish this and no problem. And then like I put it down for 3 days and I just forget about it for weeks, like I said. So that could be an issue. So as long as I just keep going, especially once I start a sleeve, I really need to get to the end of that sleeve or I will just like crash and burn. So yeah, now that she's dry, I can do all that. I should like do some really good gauge measuring and all that stuff too. So it's always good to know what your gauge is on what needles and just like record that and make sure you know for the next time if you need to size down or size up for any reason. So thank you for watching. This has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye.